All right, welcome back. This is the second video in this section, and what we're going to do here is take all the character stuff we did in the last video and start building it out in here in our game, and we're going to build up a very special character system that will allow us to do a whole variety of different things with it. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you like this video, I really appreciate it if you hit that like button, and if you really like my video series and the things that we're doing, hit that subscribe button and help me out on my channel. I really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks, and we'll get right to it. All right, so here we are, and here's our survive folder where we're going to place everything. And right now I've got just the landscape and stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do in here, oh, so that's cinematics. Okay. I'm not going to create a blueprint class. I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it characters. And our first character is going to be David. So I'm going to create a new folder for David and everything about David. And up here we're going to have a special thing, and I'll get to that. And in David, we're just going to create some new folders here real quick. We're going to have textures. We're going to have materials. And we're going to have animations. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is import the character, and we'll just import it into here and then move everything in. So let me grab that folder. I believe I still have it open. No. Here, characters, David. So there's the first part. Here's Mixamo. So here's David idle. This contains everything that David needs. So what we will do here is just make sure, now we don't have to worry about this. It contains its own skeletal mesh. Make sure that animations is clicked, import animations, and then click import all. And this will sometimes take a few minutes. We have a thunderstorm going over, so if you hear thunder, that's what it is. And get rid of that. So here's everything that imported. So we've got the model, we've got the idle animation, and various other things. So the first thing I'm going to do is take and find the materials. That's a material. That's a material. That's a material. That's a texture. That's a material. Texture. This is a material, and that's a texture. So I'm going to take all these materials and I'm going to move them into materials. And then I'm going to get all the textures. Texture. And I'm going to move them into the textures. And then, just for the heck of it, I'm going to create a new one called brown eyes. That's a texture. I missed that one. Move there. This is a skeletal mesh, an animation sequence for idle, so we'll move that into animations. That's a physics asset, and that's the skeleton. So we're all set with that part, and let's import the rest of the animations. Let me get that folder up again. Here is Mixamo. So we want this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We want to actually go into animations, and we'll just grab these and drag them into animations. Now this time it's going to ask us for a skeleton, and we need to tell it David idle skeleton, and we can change the name of that, and then make sure that animations is checked. Animation length, Oh, it is an animation, so that's why. That's the only thing in it. So I don't think there's a checkbox for that in this one. So we'll just click import all. And there's all our animations. So we're almost there. We're going to come up here to characters, and we're going to do a couple of things. In here, we're going to right click and create a new blueprint class based on player controller. And we're going to call this the main player controller. I kind of like to spell that out so that I'm going to hit save all and save all this stuff that's not been saved. Now what we're going to do is come down here to the third person BP blueprints, and we've got this character and game mode. So I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to take them and I'm going to drag them over to David, and I'm going to say copy here. Now in David we have these, and we're going to rename them, and we're going to call this David BP. So that's his main BP. In the game mode, we're going to change it and call it David GM for game mode. And then we're going to edit these and make some changes. So we've got everything that these could do, and we also have our main player controller. So I'm going to open up that main player controller first and move it into the window here, and I want to be on the event graph here, and we'll get rid of these for the moment. We don't need them. Zoom out a little bit. In David, I'm going to open up David Blueprint, and we're gonna change all that stuff out. But the first thing I want to do is grab everything in here, hit Control X and get rid of it, because we're going to go here to the player controller and go Control V, and put it in here. Now we've got to make some changes here. You'll see if we hit compile on this, we get a whole bunch of errors. So we've got to feed some information into all of these error boxes, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Over here in David, I'm going to grab this best turn rate. I'm just going to copy it, come back over here, go to variables, and paste the variable, and do the same thing here. This is just quicker and easier than recreating these variables. We're going to need them. Variables. Come on, variable. Paste variable. There it is. Okay. So what this is going to do is move all the functionality out of the character's blueprint and into this player controller. And because it's in the player controller, though, we need to get the pawn. Okay, and so we come over here, and this target is a pawn object reference and a pawn object reference. And there's another one over here that's a pawn object reference. And this is a pawn, and this one is a pawn. But down here, we're going to run into some stuff that is a character object reference and a character object reference, and this one is a character object and a character object. So, and these over here are again pawns. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to start by get player pawn, and with that get player pawn, we can just hook it up here to these things that need it. So I'm going to put this in the middle here and hook it up to this target and this target. And then I'm just going, hook it up to this target. And then with it selected, I'm going to find the next spot over here, and I'm going to hit Control W. And this is just so we don't have wires all over the place. And I'll put that into this, and this into this. And these take pawns, they do, so we're going to go Control, oops, select it. I'm going to go Control W. We'll stick it right in between here. To there and to there, and I'm going to expand that a little bit, and then we need one down here. Make sure it's selected, Control W, hook this into here. Oh no, we can't. So now these are character object references. Do we have more pawn references? That one's already done. That one's already done. So these are character references. So we want to get rid of this and go get player character. And so the player character needs to hook into this one and into this one, and then Control W. It needs to hook into this one, and it needs to hook into this one, and we'll clean this all up in a minute. I think I got everything. So let's compile and see. Oh, compiled without errors. So that part's working. Now what we can do, we've got our David blueprint. We'll compile and save that. We've got our David game mode. So our David game mode, we're going to come in here and select our David default pawn class is going to be David BP. There it is. And that's all we need to do for that right now. Compile and save that. Now, we'll compile and save that. And now back here in settings, project settings, maps and modes, all we should have to do is change this to David game mode. And close it. And if I've done everything right, we should still get a pawn when we come in here, but it's going to still be this guy because that's what we've got set up, and it looks like the controls aren't working. Okay. Main control. Oh, because I didn't set the controller. Okay, player controller has to be now main player controller. Compile, save. Now hopefully if we go here and open a new window, okay, and there. Okay, so the character is, the new character is working. All we have to do now is open up this David BP, select our mesh, and come over here and change this to David. Oh, that's the anim class. We don't have one yet. Change the mannequin to David Idle. And all the textures are there. Compile, save. Now, when we play this, it's not going to have any animations, and it's going to be gigantic. Of course it is. This happens once in a while. I don't know why. I set everything the way it was supposed to be set, but sometimes I think it might be Mixamo that gets the scale messed up. But what we can do is open up this David Idle skeletal mesh. No, that's not the one we want to open up. We just want to open up the blueprint. Here's the David blueprint. We go to the viewport, and yeah, okay, there's the capsule down there, and he's enormous. So let's change him to, I don't know, 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And then let's zoom in here, and yeah, David's kind of fitting inside the capsule now. maybe he's a little small. Maybe make him, maybe make this 0.15, 0.15, and 0.15. That's a bit much. 0.11, 0.11, and 0.11. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at the left side view here and make sure that, yep, he's sitting right on there and it's just outside of the capsule. Save, back to here, hit play, and he's here, but there's no animations yet. So animations pretty easy to set up. What we're going to do is go in here to animations. We're going to create a new animation blend space, and I'm going to do a regular 2D blend space. And the reason for that is, and by the way, I clicked the David mannequin, and I'm going to call this David blend space. I'm going to call this BS for blend space. I'm going to call it David walk, run, idle. And later we may add some strafing to him or something. So let's open up this blend space, and David idle anim, we're going to take that and drop it right down here to this bottom one, and David running, David run forward up here to this one, and that is the vertical axis. And we're going to set this to, we're going to call this forward speed, because we may add some animations to here for strafing, so we'll have left and right speed and stuff. Maximum x-axis is going to be 600. Maximum axis value is going to be 600 because that's the default running speed for that. And right here in the middle, we're going to get this walk, David walking, and drop it right here in the middle. And so now, if we grab this, there he is, he's idle, he turns, he starts walking. There he goes, he's walking, 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 he's walking faster. Now he's deciding to kind of jog a little bit. Now he's jogging and running and running and running. There he is. Okay, so these three animations we picked seem to work pretty good together. So we have that. We'll click save and close this. We don't need that for now. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to create an animation blueprint. So under animation, we're going to come down here to animation blueprint. That's what we want. And this is going to be based on, it doesn't need to be anything up there. It needs to be David idle skeleton. Click OK, and we're going to call this animation blueprint, ABP, animation blueprint David. This is his animation blueprint. Now real quick, we can go to this David blueprint, click on the mesh and come down here where it says use animation blueprint. Click on this and go ABP David. So that's all set. We can compile and save that, and now we've got our animation blueprint David. Double click it, open it up, and now what do we want to do? Well, at the moment we only have walk and run idle. We have and oh, we do have a jumping David crouching pickup, David walking, David standing jump, and a David running jump. We'll get to those jumps in another video. I just want to set this up real quick. I'm going to start by going here to the event graph. There's some things that we need to collect from David here. So here is the event blueprint update animation. This is going to get fired whenever the animation needs to update. And so during that update cycle, we need to get some information from our pawn. So we need to come here and get movement component. and from off of here get velocity, and from here it's a vector, so we need to do a length and get the vector length. So I'm going to park this right here, and right here. And what we need to do is promote this to a variable, bring this up here and set it. This is our forward speed. So this new variable, which is a float, we're going to call this forward speed. Now we're going to go to our anim graph and we're going to create a state machine. So we'll just type in state machine, add new state machine, and hook the state machine up here to our animation output. In this state machine, we're going to have one very simple state coming off of this here, and this add a new state, and we're going to call this idle slant walk slant run. And I'm going to fix that capitalization problem there. Walk, run. And we'll double click on it, and this is where we put the animation out. And the animation we want is this blend space. And we plug this blend space into here, and you'll notice, well, I didn't name those correctly. So let's go back to the blend space and let's name our two axes. The horizontal axis we're going to call left, right, speed, and the vertical axis we're going to call forward speed. Save it. Let's go back to our NMVC. Now we've got left, right speed and forward speed. We won't worry about the left, right speed just yet. We'll take the forward speed and we'll plug it into forward speed, and we'll leave that at 0, which is fine. And so the forward speed is going to drive this animation out to this output result, which is going to be what comes out of our being in this state. It's the only state that we can be in right now, and that's going to feed that animation out here. And we now should at least have walking ability in our scene. And I'm probably going to fix this lighting right now, so I'm going to hit Control L, and let's move it more to daytime. That'll make it a little bit easier when we come in to see what's going on. So here's our guy. There's his idle animation. And if we start moving forward, he starts running. Now, you know what? We can never walk. We can idle or we can run, because that's just the speed that we go to. I think I'm going to set a thing here real quick that allows us to slow down from our run, and we're going to do that here in our. Did I close it? Yeah, main player controller. We're going to do that in our main player controller. So first, I'm going to come here and go into my settings and project settings and go down here to input and some action mappings. We already have a jump and reverse, so we've got our axis mappings. So all we need to do is hit the action mapping button here, and we're going to create a new action here called walk, run. And what key are we going to use for that? Actually, I might use the mouse. Middle mouse button. I think we'll use the middle mouse button to switch between walking and running, so you can do it right there. So all we have to do for that is get this event, walk, run event, pressed. All we're going to do is look at, we need to get our player character. Control W, get our player character, get our movement, get character movement, and set max walk speed. So what are we going to set it to? Well, we're going to create a couple of default values here. We're going to call this walk speed, and we're going to change that to a float, and it'll fix my case problem again. Walk speed, and we'll call this the run speed. Let's make it run speed. Okay, pile those. For the moment, we'll set this to like 300, and we'll set run speed to 600, but we know actually we should get, actually what we should do is get max walk speed and set the run speed to that before we change it. And then I'm going to create a Boolean called running. And we'll set this to Boolean. Compile. We'll set this to true initially. And before we actually set the walk speed, we're going to do a branch. So we'll just, a quick one on that is hold B and click for a branch. And if this is true, we're going to set this to, if it's true, if running is true, the first, what we're going to do is set it. So here's running. Let's move this stuff. This here, this here, this here. So if it's true, we're going to set running to false. And then we're going to set this walk speed. But if it's false, we're going to set running to true, and control W. We got to get the target in here, the movement thing. Plug this into here, set it to true, and set this to back to the run speed. And I think that should do it. And our mouse wheel should be able to limit our speed so we can just walk. Because later, if you're running hard, you're going to start losing things like stamina, and you're going to have trouble breathing or whatever. You're not going to be able to run at full speed for very long. So let's do a save all. Save selected. Let's play and see how things go here. So we're running. I'm going to mouse click. Now I'm walking. So I just hit my middle button, and he's walking. And we can walk this way. We can walk right. Walk this way. And so when he's walking, so we click, 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 click. Middle mouse button's not setting it. Oh, because I did that. You know what? I have to make a change. Because I got that out. Yeah, I shouldn't have set this run speed. You know, I'm just going to set this to 600 as the default, and I'm not going to set run speed here. And we don't need this get max walk speed, because what that did was it set it to what we had set it to. Yeah, little fault in logic there. So we're going to control walk speed and run speed from this from now on, and what's set as the default in the player isn't going to matter. And really, that's where it should be anywhere here is in the controller. So I'm going to grab all this stuff. I'm going to hit C for a comment. I'm going to call this walk run speed control. This should work now. Compile, save. Go here. Okay, we're running. Click, click, click. We're not there. We're walking. Now we're running. Now we're walking. So if we had analog controls, you could get in between, but we're not. I don't have an Xbox controller anymore. It went missing. I don't know how. It's probably in a box somewhere. So anyway, there's our character. With his idle. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.